Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet an attorney who has just received the highest award that the Texas Bar has to give. Her journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
So we live in a world in which integrity, honor, ethics is held in high esteem, but it seems to be in short supply these days. Somebody who knows something about that, Pallavi Ahluwalia, she's in studio. Thank you so much for coming into the...
Thank you, Jeff, for having me. I love the fact that I am here to have this conversation with you, and I just love the fact that I am recently honored by the State Bar, Texas State Bar Foundation as one of their fellows. So it's an award that we've discussed before, and I'm very, very glad to have received it.
And how did you receive it? Is there a nomination process or?
So the process includes someone from the bar nominating you, and there is a nominating committee per district that is appointed, and then there's a board of governors that votes into and gives you this award. It's usually given to 1/3 of 1% of Texas attorneys, the top 1/3 of 1% of Texas attorneys per year. So it's a growing number every year. And the one that I got is for life. So I'm very, very glad and honored and humbled to have received it.
Wow, we're going to put the logo up on the screen so people can appreciate this. It's almost like the Nobel Peace Prize, if you will,
Right.
for attorneys. Really, I mean, so many attorneys would be honored to have this. And so how many fellows are there?
So it started out about almost 6 decades back and had very, very few. And right now, I think the numbers are growing, and they are close to about 8,000-9,000 fellows in the state of Texas. But then we also have a large number of practicing attorneys here. So, but then again, if they're nominating over the years, over the past several decades, from choosing 1/3 of the top 1%, then I guess it's taken them that much time to build up those numbers.
And I know you're a very humble person, so you don't like to brag, but I'm going to put you on the spot. This has been an amazing year for you. This has been like a career year because you co-chair the Dallas Bar Ethics Committee, and you also have been named to the Ethics Committee of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. So, this year has been a foray into the outer world of other practicing attorneys, and to be able to give what I feel very passionately about, and that is ethics. And I think something triggered me as a young practitioner. And this is also, by the way, my 20th year of practice. So the law firm turned 20 on the 15th of November this year. So we're going to continue to celebrate our 20 years. But I, as a young attorney, came across a lot of clients that had poor work done, and lawyers were shorting them with different things, not communicating, not giving them an answer. And a bunch of those lawyers eventually we saw get into trouble with law and get disbarred and all of that. I mean, we saw some journeys, and it just kind of provided a little bit of an insight to how, when you take power the wrong way, that and how you abuse it, that how wrong can you go. So I think ethics just kind of naturally, I was just something that I was always drawn to, and that's where I started participating in the ethics committee in the Dallas Bar, and I just kept getting into it till now. I'm chairing that committee, and we're responsible for providing continuing legal education to about 11,000 Dallas attorneys. So we're monthly meetings, seminars, the things. I have one that we're presenting tomorrow. So, and it's an hour-long seminar for which lawyers get legal credit for attending that seminar. So, and I was a speaker once, but this time around I'm the presenter along with my co-chair.
Wow, it's, you're having quite a year. I also want to brag about your firm because you specialize in a number of different areas, including corporate immigration. Tell us your journey, because you came here from another country.
Correct. I came here from India, and I came here as an immigrant many years back, about 31 years back. And then when I came here and I went to law school, as you know, in my early 20s, I just somehow thought that international law, and that was the flavor of my interest. Of course, we all have to study family law, and I did all of that. But I was drawn to the international issues. I thought one day I would go and sit in The Hague and do something with it. But in lieu of that, I am an immigration attorney, and I represent a lot of people from all over the world with different nationalities. And my passion is to bring them here into the country legally. Most of my clients are the ones that everyone would want to have in the US. They're the ones that are the best and the brightest, the top 1%, I'd say, of extraordinary individuals that we argue as and bring them in. And I can go over a litany of the alphabet soup that is immigration law. But we do the high-skilled workers, we do the specialized workers, we do your guy that you absolutely do require from outside the country to come and work for your company. So we're those attorneys that kind of do that, argue that. Of course, we have a volume practice that takes care of a bunch of H-1Bs with corporations. And then we also have the curated, argued top 1% kind of individuals that we represent. We're currently working with an individual who has been so humble that he's a PhD in print technology, and the security ink on the dollar bills and on the Merck's COVID antiviral pill is some ink that he's devised. And for a while, he's been talking to me about applying for this EB-1A. And he wouldn't just come to me, he wanted to publish one more report, one more paper, one more thing. So one of those excellent individuals that won't just recognize how excellent he was. Till now, that we're drafting it and we say, oh my God, he's got 100 research papers and he's devised this, and there is a formula that's known after him, an equation known after him, and he's known for all of that. So those are the individuals that our law firm is very proud to represent and to bring into the country. Those are some of the things that we do. Absolutely.
And you have a beautiful website. We're going to just slowly scroll down it. I imagine because you've been through the process yourself, you relate to your clients in a very unique way.
Yes, I understand the journey. They understand me. I have a radio show on South Asian radio stations and FM 104.1 FM. And when I do that show, it's mostly South Asians that come. But there are questions in English, and anybody can tune in and ask me the questions every Wednesday evening at 5:20.
What's one of the most common questions you get asked on your radio show?
You know, it's every show of mine is very unique, Jeff, because every show has a flavor. It's almost like somebody's picked the topic of the day, and I haven't, because I'm just asked these questions and they're just completely blind for me. I mean, people ask me anything and I would answer it live on the air, and that is and I have to say this, that's not a marketing show ever. That is my outreach to the community to be able to answer those questions for free, because I know that clients that are, or people who are lining up to call that number for free and talk to an attorney and talk about their issues are not wanting to pay one for a consult at that point. So we have those questions and answers that are asked of me, and I answer them. But to answer your question, they're mostly corporate immigration based, mostly. Some family immigration, very few family law. I mean, people don't want to talk about domestic abuse and things like that live on the air. Mostly they don't. But yeah, I have all kinds of questions that come to me via that show.
And you and I had the privilege of working together a couple of years ago. We're going to go to your media page on YouTube, and as I was preparing for this show, I was just really impressed. I mean, you've done dozens and dozens and dozens of media interviews, haven't you?
Correct, and this was especially to the time that I spoke here and was invited to speak at an pro-immigration march in downtown Dallas, and that was around President's Day of 2017. And there was a lot of pro-immigrant, anti-immigrant sentiment reigning high, and that's when I kind of also spoke. I was at the airport when people were suddenly banned from entering the country. So, you know, I just got a little bit more passionate about immigration, and then from there on started my interest and speaking to the media and having conversations, which I did many times.
And I think you've done such a good job explaining it to the masses and not talking legalese. And I think some of the people that you reach through the radio and television are people who might not have known some of the things that you were talking about. So educating people through the media is a passion for you.
Yes, for sure. And I still have people just off the blue, you know, something happens at the border. And, you know, I mean, migrant issues do come to my practice, but it's not my professional expertise. That's not what I do. I do, you know, and I hate to say what I don't do, but those are questions I'm still asked, right? So, and because whenever anyone thinks of immigration, they think about, you know, people at the border. They think about people who are present in the country without status. And of course, everyone has to be taken care of once they're in the country, and they're actually strangely still contributing to taxes without statuses. So they have to kind of at some point get, you know, fixed. But my expertise or my area of professional focus has been in the employment-based and family-based immigration, and that's what I do. But I talk to the media about any topic that relates to immigration.
Yes. I know it's hard to kind of pick a favorite case, but you've handled so many cases over the years. Sometimes families that are divided, one person is back home in India and one person's here. Do you have a favorite case or a situation that comes to mind when you think about this is why I got into law?
I think every time, I would say each one of the approvals that I receive from the government, it becomes my favorite case, because, and especially the ones that the government challenges and asks me questions about and ask the clients questions about. So it's not like if I apply for a status, the government is, you know, completely convinced right off that this is the way to go. They may question it and they audit those cases. And those are the ones that we get passionate about. And then we convince the government how that employee, a potential employee for a company, is essential to this country and to that company and to the betterment of the economy and all of it. And each one of those victories is my personal victory. So I would say that, I mean, those are thousands of cases of people that we've represented, and they're all very, very dear to me.
Well, I have to imagine, because you've been doing it with so much integrity and honor over the years, that you get well known within the court system that if you're on the case, there's a good reason that you're on that case.
And in our case, Jeff, this is most of these arguments are in writing. Mm-hmm. Okay, they are written to the government. And so all of our cases are presented to the Immigration Service, which is United States Citizenship and Immigration Service. So whatever we say, I always tell my team, my associates and our team, and I shout out to all of them that work so hard, that we have to try and have the officer understand what we are saying, because they're not just going to comprehend anything by just filling out some forms and things. So we have to bring something extra to the mix and to be able to talk to the officer while not talking to them on the phone or in front of a judge. We're talking to them through what we write. And so we write well, we argue well, and that's how we get our cases in.
Outstanding. We're almost out of time. So what are the final thoughts? What would you like to leave people with?
Oh, well, I'd say that, thank you for inviting me
Of
here
course.
today. Thank you, I appreciate this very much. And I would say that anyone that pursues whatever they do with their passion and are in any field that you do, are ethically strong, will always come out up ahead. And you're not really looking just for an award here, but you're looking for doing good, right? So there is a difference between doing well and doing good. And I think all of us have to do good to be doing well. So if we kind of get that, we'll do very, very well.
Well, thank you for being such a good fellow.
Thank you.
We're going to end with her website.
ahluwalialaw.com.
Perfect. Thanks again. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.